Wardrobe for the Bass Tour Anglers podcast is provided by Koppel Outfitters. Go have an adventure. Visit them online at www.koppelOutfitters.com and on social media at Koppel Outfitters. Our guest today is a rookie on the BASS Elite Series, having qualified via the Eastern and Central Opens in 2020. He's finished in the money in 9 of his 11 events. 2 years ago, he graduated from college. He's fished 3 Elite Series events this season, made 2 semifinal cuts. KJ Queen, welcome to the Bass Tour Anglers podcast. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, so I've got some. They're friends, I guess you'd say. Yeah, they're certainly their friends, but I've got some friends there in the BASS media section, and they said you got to bring this guy onto your podcast because this guy's going to be the guy one of these days, real soon. How do you respond to that?
Man, I hope they're right on that. No doubt, man. I'm just hoping I can just line my eggs up in a row and knock one out of the park. The last 3 events I did decent in. Not what I want to finish, of course, but the change in weather and conditions and the fish changed in practice compared to in the tournament, and trying to adapt and change with that. It's been difficult, but managed to, get by somewhat. But I'm ready to hopefully just have everything line up in a row and just, hit it on the head and win one of these tournaments, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. So you qualified for the Elites through the Opens. The BASS Elites have a full field. So any new anglers that come into this have to come in through the Opens now. And I don't know, for my money, I think the BASS Open are the most difficult events anywhere, bar none. And you came through that rank. That's pretty tough.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. The guys that fish the Opens, they are some sticks. There's no doubt. Like, trying to qualify up and make it through the points. And man, it was no doubt a struggle, but definitely a grind to be able to do that and to accomplish that. It was definitely a huge achievement. And I got a couple of buddies, John Garrett, Cody Huff, some guys that's in the Open. My dad's actually fishing the Opens this year, and I mean the competition this year too is super strong. So I mean the guys that's trying to make it, no doubt you're gonna have to bring some heat to make it. And I got lucky enough to make it, and I'm glad to be here. It ain't no doubt, but.
So you didn't make it through the Easterns or the Centrals. You made it through the combination of fishing all 8 of those, right?
Actually, I ended up in 5th in the combined in the
right.
Both Eastern and Central. But I actually ended up making it in the Eastern side. By the way it worked out down the list, I ended up working it out to where I was, I think, like 6th in the Eastern side, and I ended up making it on the Eastern side because people had already qualified through the combined. So.
Okay, but still, that is an 8 tournament schedule that is brutal. Plus, given with COVID and everything last year, everything is squeezed together. That was
no
rough.
Doubt. Yeah, definitely, and it made it tough for my style of fishing. I mean, I don't mind fishing in the fall, but I love looking at them. That's my style of fishing. I like sight fishing. That's just what I love to do. Coming from Lake Norman area, the clear water and everything, it's kind of my go-to. So. This last season in the fall, we was going around fishing these places, and fall time fishing can either be hit or miss. I mean, it's either you're either on them or you're not, and it was definitely a grind trying to figure out them lakes and break them down in the fall time.
I think a lot of guys that are weekend anglers who fish year round and have to fish in the fall as it is. I think there's kind of a macabre kind of satisfaction of having to watch you guys try to catch fish in the fall, because typically the pros tours don't fish that often in the fall.
Yeah, correct. And it don't. And I mean, and that changed up too. I mean, it made the whole different style of fishing compared to your average pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn type fishing. Fish are in all 3 different places, so you kind of had to, really break down the water whenever you got to them places, to them lakes.
So I guess the obvious question is, what's it like being a rookie on the Elite Series? Do you have a travel partner? What kind of things have you learned so far?
Well, I mean, I'm good buddies with several of the guys. Patrick Walters, me and him, we talked the other day whenever our tournament got delayed. Me, Patrick Walters, and Justin Hamner and Jake Whitaker, we all went out to eat at Cracker Barrel. We were sitting in there and went out to eat because the tournament got delayed the first day. So, I went on into Cracker Barrel and I was sitting over there eating, and Patrick gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, man," he said, "turn around, come over here and sit with us." I was like, "All right, sweet." So I looked over and he was over there. So I went and ate with them. And it's been a good time hanging out with them guys, no doubt. But whenever you're fishing out there with them elite guys, you meet a lot of guys that's like they're just genuine guys. They really are. Being a rookie, I don't know a ton of them now. Here at the hometown, I do know like Shane Lineberger, Hank Cherry, Shane LeHue, Matt Airy. I know a good many of guys that, there's probably at least 15 of them that's just in this area around the house that fish the Elite Series. And, I fish against them all the time. Every weekend we're fishing against each other. So it's kind of like, hey, like, good luck today. I'm going to try and kick your butt though, So like, it's good, good fun out on the water, no doubt.
Do you travel with anybody, or are you on your own still?
I'm on my own still. I have a van that I've converted into basically a mobile home. So I got a cot inside of it and got, dressers and everything else, microwaves. So I pull up to the event and I go to I just pick a campground, go to the campground, post up and get in my van and knock out for the night, wake up at daylight, get on the water and fish till dark and go back and knock out again and do it all over again. So
Man, you just made Ricky Klein's day here and that, because that's the way those guys used to travel. Back in the day, those guys would camp right on the ramp and out of their vans or station wagons or whatever they had. Good for you, man.
I appreciate it. I'm actually going to get my van wrapped this next week. I'm going to have a wrap van and wrap boat. I don't think there's been too many Elite Series rigs with a wrap boat, wrap van and a wrap boat. So,
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to post. You're gonna have to post those pictures on social media, man. That is old school. That is old school. That's awesome. Looking for a global action camera that gives you that authentic point of view perspective? Well, look no further. Tacticam Fisheye has you covered at a price the other guys can't touch. Tacticam Fisheye, because that fish of a lifetime happens once in a lifetime. Folks, we're talking to KJ Queen. He is an upcoming sensation, first-year rookie on the BASS Elite Series. And now you are one of the first guys that I know of that has not just roots in college bass fishing, but all the way back to high school bass fishing. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, high school fishing, it was awesome for me. Me and my sister, we actually got to team up together. We went and we fished our first event, first state tournament. We ended up only having 4 fish, but we had like 4 for 23. We won it. It was an awesome tournament. And then that kind of sparked the storm. We went to our regional. We won our regional at Lake Wiley. And then we went to nationals at Beaver, and we ended up 7th in nationals. And then the next year, my sister, she graduated, and she went to Bethel on a fishing scholarship. While I was still in high school, I teamed up with my partner, Tyler Black, and we went and we fished our state tournament, and we won our state tournament. Then we went to a regional, we won a regional. Then we went to nationals, and we ended up winning nationals, and that was awesome. That was a really cool experience. Got to weigh in on the stage with, the FLW pros whenever they went there, and they were at Beaver Lake, and we were at Grand fishing the national championship, and it was pretty cool. It was an awesome experience, no doubt.
So now, how does the high school stuff work? I mean, at what point do they give you the keys to the boat and say you drive the boat? Is there a captain driving the boat for you, or are you actually?
There's a boat captain, and I actually had same boat captain. My dad, he traveled with me and my sister, and was boat captain for me and her, and then he traveled with me and Tyler, and was boat captain for us. So it usually is you get a boat captain, and they have at it, but. They can drive, the captains can drive wherever they want to go. The kids can tell them wherever they want to go to, but the kids can't operate the boat, but that's it. They can operate the trolling motor and everything else.
Okay, that sounds safer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
high
now,
school kids out running around.
right. So now you went to college. You mentioned your sister, but you also went to college on a fishing scholarship. I got to know, how does that work? Is there a fishing coach at the college that comes and offers you a scholarship? Really, there is.
Yes, yes. Gary Mason, actually, that was our fishing coach. He recruited. So how it worked out, he does a very good job of recruiting kids. And honestly, a lot of my experience that I've learned over the years, no doubt, has come from Bethel University. Just going to school, fishing at college, fishing because of the fact that I've met kids from Washington. I've met kids from New York. I've met kids from Delaware, Texas, Oklahoma, everywhere across the United States. All these kids have come to Beth University to fish on a fishing scholarship. Gary's recruited them from all over, and you get a little bit of, hey, this is the juice at my hometown lake. This is the juice in Washington. This is the juice in Texas. Well, you can get a little bit of what all like the best baits are basically, and then just combine it into one. So you can pull, different baits. Say a bait from here in North Carolina might be like a speed trap or something of that nature. Well, you can take that and go somewhere else with it across the country and catch them. Well, my buddy that's in Washington, he might say this double Colorado spinnerbait catches them really good in Washington. Well, I could take that spinnerbait and use it somewhere else in the country and catch fish on it somewhere else in the country. Another really good bait. And just with having all them different kids and learning like different styles and techniques from fishing with the college fishing, man, that definitely helped me out, no doubt, in my fishing experience, 100%.
I'm going to have to talk to Gary. I've never had a bass fishing coach on this podcast, but I'm going to have to get a hold of this guy and find out
I
what
can
that
get you
is all
linked up with him.
Yeah, I'm going to
He'd
have to
love to
get.
come on and talk. I'm sure he
Yeah,
would.
I'm going to have to get that information from you. How many college programs are there that have a coach like that?
Man, it's getting up there now. Whenever I was in school, there was probably like, I'd say like when I first was a freshman, there wasn't but like two or three. Now it's up to like, when I graduated 5 years later, there was probably like 7 or 8. And then now it's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger. College fishing is. So I know like here in my hometown, there's already been in the last year, there's been 3 different schools pop up, CVCC, Lenore Ryan, and another one down east that's popped up with the fishing teams, with college bass teams and coaches and everything else. So it's definitely growing. It's getting out there. The high school fishing is huge now. Whenever I was in high school fishing, we would have what we think would be a huge tournament. We'd have like 300 boats. Now that they're having some tournaments upwards of like 400, 500 boats in high school tournaments, and which I think is awesome. I think it's cool as all get out, get the young generation fishing and everything for sure. But um, you know, with the college fishing and the recruitment of that, I really think that's pretty something cool and spectacular that Gary's done at Bethel, because he's went out and not only just recruited just high school fishermen for his team, he's got good fishermen from different places across the United States, and then you throw them all into one big basically a big family. Whenever it was at school, it was just a big fishing family. Like, it was, everybody hung out with everybody and we all shared information with each other. So, it was really awesome, that experience that we got from college fishing, no doubt.
Well, now are you his prized pupil now that you're at the elite level? I mean, are you? I mean, obviously, it's got to bring great notoriety to the program, right?
For sure. No doubt. No doubt. Gary's one of my good buddies. He gives me a call. He calls me all the time. So no doubt he definitely is proud of me for sure. I can say that.
Okay, so you pretty much dominated at the college ranks. I saw in looking this stuff up, you dominated the Major League Fishing college ranks, the BASS college fishing ranks. Now, and you majored in business. Is that something at Bethel? Is Bethel? Does it have a fishing career route there? I mean, is that why you majored in business?
Yeah. I mean, just with Bethel's fishing with so much experience, and the reason I did business is actually, if you can see right here behind me is Queen Tackle. It's actually me and
Yes.
my dad's company that we started together. So I went in and did business degree to help grow my tackle business, along with going and getting experience and getting what's really cool about college fishing is they fish, and Bassmaster does a really good job of this. They take and they fish all across the United States. So you get to go to these places, you get a week out of class, get to go and you practice, and then you get to fish. You fish for a few days, you get to spend a week somewhere, you might go to Florida one day. And then, one year was an awesome experience. We got to go up to the St. Lawrence River in New York. And during that tournament, the first day of the tournament, we had 80 teams. I think it was 82 teams caught over 20 pounds the first
Wow.
day. And it was incredible, man. And it's just like, we never got to, a lot of college kids never got the experience going up catching big smallmouth like that. There was like one team there they were fired up. They had like 16 pounds. They were like, this is the biggest bag of smallmouth that we've ever caught, where we're from. And they were sitting like near last, but they were still excited about just catching giant smallmouth. And that's one of the cool experiences that you get from college fishing, though. So,
does your global action camera give you the option to change lenses? Mine does. Tactacam's fisheye camera allows me to modify my viewing angle so I can film an extra wide or mini zoom. Tactacam fisheye, because that fish of a lifetime happens once in a lifetime. We're talking with KJ Queen. He is an up-and-comer on the BASS Elite Series. He's fishing his rookie season. He's 3 events in and holding his own, doing a good job. So speaking of the business side of the sport, does qualifying for the BASS Elite Series, we know it lends instant credibility to your resume, but how has that business side of the sport been for you? Have you been able to find enough support to do this, or has it been a struggle?
Yes. I'd like to thank a lot of my sponsors, of course, Queen Tackle, which is, my company and my dad's my main sponsor. But then I also got Jinko Fishing. They've helped me out a ton. They've helped me out with rods, all kinds of tackles. Burke Mortuary, which kind of sounds a little weird, but it's really cool what they actually did. They went in and they've helped me out, and they've got their logo on the side of my boat in a fish, and it's in memory of Papa Queen. My grandpa actually just passed away this last Christmas. Right after I qualified for the elites and everything. So they went in, they helped me out and helped with my grandpa's funeral bill and everything else, which is, awesome, and put a logo on the side of the boat representing my grandpa. And I mean, that's really cool. That's one of the coolest things that I've had happen for me. And, Prime One, their camo, no doubt, they've helped me out a ton, all kinds of cool clothing, and got my van wrapped in it, or going to have my van wrapped in it, got my boat wrapped in it. And I'm sorry, I just had a brain fart there for a second. But I also like to thank Shayna for cleaning restoration. She helped me out a lot. She's helped me out tremendously. If you ever want to get anything cleaned, North Carolina, check her out. She's the best person to go to, no doubt. But I've had several people that's come, and they've been a very big help to me, my sponsors. And I definitely, no doubt, definitely thank them a lot. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. Fishing out Elite Series events, it gets very pricey. Not gonna lie. You're traveling around. The entry fees like $4,800 for entry fees, so it'll add up after a while. And gas fees, hotel fees is expensive, but hey, that's why I'm staying in the van, so I don't have to worry about my hotel fees.
So now I got to know, because I know Mark Zona picks up on stuff like this. Has he given you any lip yet about being sponsored by a mortuary?
No, not yet.
Okay, that's coming.
I'm waiting
sure,
for it. I know.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure. I don't know that we've had any Elite Series pros that have been sponsored by mortuaries. We've had Pruitt is the U.S. Polo Association, which that's kind of strange too. But whatever works. You can get people plenty of publicity doing what you're doing.
Correct.
All right, very cool. All right, tell us about Queen Tackle. Now, I was going through the website, and first of all, I'm obsessed with jigs. Jigs. I love to catch fish on jigs. I know everybody does, but these are tungsten jigs. Now, do you guys pour the tungsten yourself, or do you have someone else to do it? That's pretty specialized metal.
Yeah, no, you can't even do it really in the United States. You have to outsource, because it's this high pressure molding and everything else that you can't just pour tungsten. It has to be within like 5,000 degrees pressurized mold.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so you obviously have got a connection somewhere in the world that can do this. What do you find? What do you like about tungsten as opposed to lead?
All right. So my deal with tungsten is if you're taking a lead jig and you throw it in a brush pile or you throw it in a rock pile, when that lead jig goes down to the bottom, it's going to hit the bottom. It might make a little thud, maybe, maybe not. When it hits that wood, it might make a little thud, not much at all. But whenever you drag it and you're dragging it through these brush piles and the rocks, if it comes in between a crack in the rocks, that jig's coming down through and it gets hung in the rocks, that lead's so soft, it gives. So when that lead gives and you're pulling that jig and you get hung up a little bit and you try and pull on it, and that jig will just bury down into the rocks and you're going to get hung up. And more likely, you're going to break that jig off because it's hung up. And with tungsten, same way with the brush pile, if you get into the V of a tree, when that lead gets in that V, you wedge it down in there, it gets real tight, and that lead's so soft, it just wedges, and then it ain't going to come back out after it wedges in. You're going to break your jig off. Well, with tungsten, nice thing is when you throw it out there, and that jig goes down and hits, with it being a tungsten head, tungsten is so much more dense than lead that it's super loud. Anytime you hit any type of rock, any shell, even wood, like metal or anything at all, that tungsten is going to click. And so when that tungsten jig goes down and hits some rocks or it hits the wood, it clicks. It gives the extra little crawfish sound. It does the same thing that crawfish do when they scoot across the bottom. That tail clicks and their legs click on the rocks. Well, that tungsten does the same thing. Whenever that jig goes down, hits the rocks, it clicks. And the same way when it goes to a V of a crack, tungsten's so hard, when it goes into the V, it don't wedge in there. It's either gonna get stuck right there. More likely, you can just give it a little pop and it'll pop out. But even if it does get wet, like goes down and get hung in there, you can go to the other side, and since it didn't give inside the rock, is you can pop it right out and it comes out every time. So, and you know, with being tungsten, it's so much smaller too. That's another nice thing about it. You know, you're flipping in trees, or even if you have to, say you're flipping bushes or lay downs, and you're using a 3/4 ounce jig, and you know, with a lead jig traditionally, you know, a 3/4 ounce, you got a giant head on that jig. Well, instead with the tungsten, when you got a little bitty tungsten 3/4 ounce head, instead of throwing it in there and that fish, when you hit him hard or jack him, instead of popping his mouth open with that big weight, that tungsten is so much smaller, you get a hook drove into him a lot better. So you get a lot more hookups with it. You get extra sound. You get sensitivity out of it as well. Anytime you're throwing it out there, you're like, all right, well, there's mud, there's sand, there's rock. You can feel everything on the bottom with that tungsten. And no doubt, I think 100% it's been a key factor in me making the Elite Series. And it's been a key factor in me helping state, you know, do decent in the Elite Series so far, because I've used my tungsten everywhere I've went.
Okay, so boy, you have educated me on tungsten. I mean, I knew there were differences, but you made a believer out of me. So, is the Elite Series all you're doing this year? And I don't mean to say like all you're doing, but I mean there's all kinds of tournaments out there. Are you fishing anything else besides the Elite Series?
Nothing, no main tournament trails in particular. Of course, you know, Monday night, or hey, I'm gonna show up and fish, and you know, Tuesday nighters, Thursday nighters, Friday nighters, Saturday tournament. You know, I'm out there fishing as much as I can in the little local night tournaments, club tournaments, and what big tournaments we have. You know, this last weekend it kind of stinks a little bit. We have the Oakley Big Basses here on Lake Norman, but they don't let pros fish it, so I can't go out and fish it. But you know, anything that I'm allowed to fish, I'm hopping in and fishing it, no doubt.
Okay, so what is next for KJ Queen? What's the next 2 months look like for you?
Well, I'm definitely going to be traveling around fishing the elites, and then hopefully on the off season, I'm going to be fishing every night tournament and every derby that I can enter and get into. I'm looking forward to any local tournament that they have. It's always fun to get out there on the water and fish with my dad. Ever since I was little, I've always been fishing tournaments with him and my grandpa, and I can't get enough of it. So if we get any time that we're not be traveling or on the road, I'm gonna be on the lake, hopefully with my dad fishing tournaments.
Now, you said your dad's fishing the opens this year. Are you going to be alongside giving him some pointers, or what's the deal?
Well, hopefully we're gonna see. I gotta see what my schedule is working out with him. This last event, I didn't get to go down. He's fished down at Harris. He did decent down there, just not the best. So I didn't get to go down there and practice fish with him or fish with him. But I'm hoping that the next two opens that I'll get to travel and get to go and fish with him if everything works out. So that's the game plan. I'd like to fish as I might enter and do it as a co-angler actually, and just enter the tournament and just go and hop in the boat with somebody and go fishing.
That would be an interesting thing. Who's my co-angler? That would be interesting. Okay, Jay, you're a lot of fun. We really enjoyed watching you come into the elites, and we're looking forward to seeing where you go from here. It sounds like you got a lot of good things ahead of you. Thanks for being with us today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having us.
All right, take care.
All right, appreciate it. You too.
Wardrobe for the Bass Tour Anglers podcast is provided by Koppel Outfitters. Go have an adventure. Visit them online at www.koppeloutfitters.com and on social media at Koppel Outfitters.